like books.
Books are great.
Let's
Guess
go
we'll
read
read
some
some
books.
Hey, Karen.
Yeah,
Welcome back to WeRead.
welcome back. I have a question for you, though.
Boundaries.
What's a boundary look like?
What does a boundary look like?
How do you draw one? Would you just use like a big red line, or?
Well, I would use Photoshop. I'd start with Photoshop, okay?
Actually,
And then,
use skin, but go
and
ahead.
then I would, yeah, Kim, you know what I mean. And then I'd get a cute picture of an infant, and I would just find a picture of the book I'm reading online.
Okay, that's how boundary looks like.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. I was thinking layers. I was confusing layers with boundaries.
The parents of a 25-year-old man, and I use that term loosely, came to see me with a common request. They wanted me to fix their son Bill. When I asked where Bill was, they answered, "Oh, he didn't want to come." "Why?" I asked. "Well, he doesn't think he has a problem," they replied.
That's it right there. He doesn't think he has a problem.
He does not think he has a problem.
He doesn't think he has a problem. Maybe he's right, I said to their surprise. Tell me about this.
They cited a history of problems that begun at a very young age.
Oh, this is so good.
Not this story, but what he's eating.
Yeah, we shop at Aldi, and sometimes they have specials, and they had this big case of Sweet Baby Ray's buffalo wing sauce. And it is so good. Yeah, this episode brought to you by Sweet Baby Ray's buffalo wing. I've been putting it on everything the past 3 days. Like right now I'm just eating bread dipped in this buffalo sauce. Oh, it's so good. We have an excess of bread for some reason.
Okay, anywho. Bill is a very important story. Bill
So
had never
good.
been quite the stuff in their eyes. In recent years, he had exhibited problems with drugs and an inability to stay in school and find a career. It was apparent that they loved their son very much and were heartbroken over the way he was living. They had tried everything they knew to get him to change and live a responsible life, but all had failed.
He was still an otaku.
I don't think otakus use drugs. What do they do? Using drugs, avoiding responsibility, watching anime, and keeping questionable company.
Not the anime.
Yeah, maybe he had a guild, and that's why they were worried. He spent his nights D&Ding.
They told me that they had always given him everything he needed. He had plenty of money at school, so he wouldn't have to work, and he had plenty of time for study and a social life. When he flunked out of school or stopped going to classes, they were more than happy to do everything they could to get him into another school where it might be better for him.
After they had talked for a while, I responded, "I think your son is right.
He doesn't have a problem.
You could have mistaken their expression for a snapshot." They stared at me in disbelief for a full minute. Finally, the father said, "Did I hear you right? You don't think he has a problem?" That's
correct.
I said, "He doesn't have a problem. You do. He can do pretty much whatever he wants. No problem. You pay, you fret, you worry, you plan, you exert energy to keep him going. He doesn't have a problem because you haven't taken it from him. Those things should be his problem, and as it now stands, they are yours. Would you like for me to help him to have some problems?" Would you like for me to help him?
Having problems. We all got something to say. I get carried away from you.
They looked at me like I was crazy, but some lights were beginning to go in their heads. "What do you mean? Help him to have some problems?" his mother asked. "Well," I explained, "I think that the solution to this problem would be to clarify some boundaries so that his actions cause him problems and not you." "What do you mean, boundaries?" the father asked. "Look at it this way. It's as if your neighbor who never...
It's as if he's your neighbor.
Oh, he's your neighbor, sorry.
Who
Go ahead.
never waters his lawn, but whenever you turn your sprinkler system, the water falls on his lawn. Your grass is turning brown and dying, but Bill looks down at his green grass and thinks to himself, 'My yard is doing fine.' That is how your son's life is. He doesn't study or plan or work, yet he has a nice place to live, plenty of money, and all the rights of a family member who's doing his part. If you would define the property lines a little better and fix the sprinkler system so that the water would fall on your lawn, and if he didn't water his own lawn, he would start to live in dirt. He may not like that after a while. As it stands now, he is irresponsible and happy. You are responsible and miserable. A little boundary clarification would do the trick. You need some fences to keep his problems out of your yard and in his where they belong.
Isn't that a bit cruel just to stop helping like that? And then he said something extremely important. Has helping him helped?
Has helping him helped?
Does helping help?
Is your helping really helping?
That's a question that comes up a lot in here. That's kind of the armor-piercing question.
Is helping helping?
Yes.
Is everything that you've done up to this point working? I don't think so, or else you wouldn't be here. Has helping helped? His look told me that he was beginning to understand. Invisible property lines and responsibility. That's my middle name, you know.
Responsibility?
Yeah.
And fun?
Gregory Kent, responsibility, fun, Haller.
Diane Pie?
Yeah, Diane Pie. In the physical world, boundaries are easy to see. Fences, signs, walls, moats with alligators, manicured lawns, and hedges are all physical boundaries. Karen, I love our hedges.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I love them.
We have hedges?
Would it kill us to get a moat with alligators? I mean, I'll dig it, okay?
Okay.
I'll dig it.
And then you'll put some alligators in there and you'll feed the alligators?
Just little ones. Little ones. I mean, they'll get bigger, but... Yeah. Please.
I think that would be a good idea, actually.
Mm-hmm. I think we need to clarify some boundaries with our neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
And a moat is... We'll do it.
A moat with alligators might do it?
Yeah. I want to put it right at that corner of our property where they always cut the corner coming off their driveway and leave a big muddy rut. I'm just talking like one, maybe two alligators, okay? Tops. 2 alligators tops. In the physical world...
What happens when they pop the tires in the Astro van?
Well,
they already
you know,
have one car with the lawn blocks out there.
In the physical world, boundaries are easy to see. Fences, wall signs, moats with alligators, manicured lawns, and hedges are all physical boundaries. In their differing appearances, they give the same message. This is where my property begins. The owner of the property is legally responsible for what happens on his or her property. Non-owners are not responsible for the property. Physical boundaries mark a visible property line that someone holds the deed to. You can go to the county courthouse and find out exactly where those boundaries of responsibility are and whom to call if you have business there. In the spiritual world, boundaries are just as real, but often harder to see. The goal of this chapter is to help you define your intangible boundaries and recognize them as an ever-present reality that can increase your love and save your life.
So your level of violence? I don't know that I want my level of violence increased. In reality, these boundaries define your soul.
It's just an acronym, Karen.
But I thought you had 6 souls, and they help you to guard and maintain it. Okay. Anywho. Me and not me. This is me. This is not me. My offspring is not me. This is a product of water is wet.
Boundaries define us.
Yes. I'm starting to sound like a yes man.
A boundary shows me where I end and someone else begins, leading me to a sense of ownership.
Knowing that what I am to own and take responsibility for gives me freedom.
But if I know where my yard begins and ends, I am free to do with it what I like.
To an extent. Taking responsibility for my life opens up many different options.
It's like I know where my yard is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can choose to cut the grass. And if I choose not to cut the grass, the city will let me know that they would like me to cut the grass. Mm-hmm. And then they'll let me know that they'd like me to cut the grass again, but a little more strongly. And then they'll come and cut the grass for me, at which point they will send me a bill for them cutting the grass, which is enough that I could go buy a nice riding lawnmower and just have done it myself.
But if you wait long enough, the lesson in that, if you have poor boundaries, is wait long enough and the city will just do it for you.
Yeah. Think how confusing it would be if someone told you to guard this property diligently because I will hold you responsible for what happens here, and then did not tell you the boundaries of the property, or they did not give you the means which to protect the property. This would not only be confusing, but also potentially dangerous.
This is exactly what happens to us emotionally and spiritually, however. God designed a world where we all live within ourselves. That is, we inhabit our own souls, and we're responsible for the things that make up us. We have our own anger, joy, sadness, fear, disgust. The heart knows its own bitterness, and no one shares its joy. Proverbs 14:10. We have to deal with what is in our soul, and boundaries help us define what that is. If we are not shown the parameters, or are taught the wrong parameters, we are in for a world of pain. The Bible tells us clearly what our parameters are and how to protect them. But often our family or other past relationships confuse us about the parameters. We find help us to define those.
Next time on WeRead.
What? Oh well. I guess you'll just have to wait.
Yeah, this is the boundary of this episode. This is as much of the episode. This is as much as the episode as I will be responsible for. If you would like more episode, then you have to click on the next episode.
And then start the boundary for the next episode, I think.
Yes.
Anywho, just go ahead and play.
I'm saying this is the end of the episode. This episode cannot go on forever. It must end because this is the end.
Yes, as Steve was talking about forever. Is this going to be like the Lord of the Rings ending where you just have epilogue after epilogue after epilogue?
One day it occurred to me that we watch way too much TV of video games and DVDs. While good and fun are just empty. About that time Karen came to me and she confessed that she'd like us to read, and for our family's sake she began to plead. And since I can't get by on my looks, we agreed and said, let's go read some books.